Welcome back to another episode of Winning the Margins podcast. I am your host, Gabriel Rocha. Today I am joined by one of my closest friends, Kirhee Cooper. He is an IFBB Classic Physique Pro. He also technically a men's physique pro. He got his double pro card a few years back, right? Maybe we'll see him in some swim trunks soon. um, but he is also father, husband, most importantly, Christian man, and very privileged to have him on this episode today. Over the last few years, we've become very close. We were training partners for about 2.5 years down at the Muscle Factory in San Antonio, and during that time, we would just wake up every day and go kick each other's ass in the gym. So,
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming on today, Kyrie. I want to give you the floor and kind of let people know where they can find you, because I don't want to wait until the end. I know some people typically tend to sign off before the end of the
Yeah.
episode. So where can people find you?
Kirhee Cooper, Kirhee Cooper. Google it. You'll find me everywhere because I'm the only Kirhee Cooper in the world. I'm mainly on Instagram. YouTube content's coming back soon. And yeah, let's get after it.
Man, well, you want to start off with a heavy hitter, or do you want to kind of ease into it?
Let's fucking go.
All right, we're sending it, right?
Let's go.
Cool.
How was your childhood?
So the main thing I wanted to know here, and I don't think we've actually talked about this before, but what I want to know is, are the gifts that have been bestowed upon you, do they ever feel like it is a burden or a heavy responsibility to carry?
Deep water.
Deep
Deep
water.
water. Deep water. Okay. No, because preference. Previously, yes, especially this last prep, where I sat there and I'm like, I have a potential cap. And if I don't do that, I will be known as the guy who didn't hit that cap. And I watched a lot of NBA players. I used to like watch like the biggest NBA busts. And it'd be like, okay, I will not be that guy. I will do everything in my power to not be that guy. And I was almost running from hell rather than chasing heaven.
Mm,
Right? So I'm running from something rather than being like, okay, let me see how far I can take this and see where my potential is. And that's the thing with like bodybuilding is that you see a lot of guys with not that much potential make a huge splash. So like, what if I can surpass this potential? And I started focusing on that rather than running on that. Now there's still fuel back there. I might call on it whenever I need to, but I rather chase something positive. And shout out to Joe, he really taught me that. Like, be grateful for the opportunity to use your body and steward this gift well, and then dedicate all your work to the Lord. So I don't really think about it. I also learned recently, fear the crowd that loves you. I saw this on Instagram. Dude, I think I reposted. Did you see it?
I saw it. I liked it right
Yep.
after.
I put it on my whiteboard. It's fear the crowd that loves you and love the loss which built you. And that one thing right there, I just combined them both and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I can sit there and I can get compliments saying, oh, you're gonna be. I don't worry about it because that is going to kill me. That complacency. When I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do it. No, no, no. That's going to kill. You hear this in the military all the time. Complacency kills.
Hmm.
Complacency kills. So I sit there, I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I'd rather hear Joe tell me, hey man, you're a fat piece of crap, than tell me that I'm going to be something. I'm gonna win this show.
No. Talk to me a little bit about how you view the word potential, because I know we've talked about that offline before, and I know that's one of those things where it's like I hate that word. I think it's ugly. It has an ugly connotation.
Yeah, because like everyone growing up had potential. You know, you go back and look back at your high school class and you're like, dude, what happened to that guy? He has so much potential. And it's like, it doesn't matter what how much potential you have. It's like how hard are you willing to work? And that's the thing with like bodybuilding as well that I was actually thinking about yesterday, where you have like the Phil Heath effect, right? Where he was gifted to to be Mr. Olympia.
Mhm.
And it almost discounted the work that he put in. You know what I mean? Especially with the Generational Iron movie and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, you got Kai Green and Phil Heath. Kai Green worked so hard, and Phil Heath didn't work as hard because it was just gifted to him. It's like, no. Like I posted on Instagram, I was like, I want to be respected for my work ethic. I don't care if I'm covered up in the gym. It's like, I just want to be someone look over and being like, oh, that guy's getting after it. and everything else is second.
Yeah, honestly, that makes a lot of sense too. And so, one thing that I have seen, especially over the years of like us having trained together, is it feels like every season you level up in some way, shape, or form in terms of your mentality, but then also your output. So, if we're talking about, last season, you didn't place how you wanted to at San Antonio. You came in with a look that you were not super proud of. What changes did you make mentally to then level up going into the season this year?
Um, I guess it's like how hard are you willing to work? And because I feel like that's also like the trend of my career to begin with. Because whenever I get my teeth kicked in, it's like, okay, it's time to level up, right? What they say, new levels, new devils, or something like that. So get to a new level. It's like you're at the bottom of the totem pole. So you're gonna have to figure out some strategy to like get back up, and then you're at the bottom of the totem pole again.
No.
So after San Antonio, I was like, okay, cool. What does it take? And then working with Joe, I'm like, okay, I understand what it takes. And then post show Optimum Classic, it's like I can count on one hand how many off plan meals I've had.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just like because I understand what it takes now. And then whenever I, go to the Olympia, Lord willing, and I get my teeth kicked in, it's like, okay, how hard, how far am I willing to go now? What do I have to sacrifice to get to that next level? And even then, it's like even when I said sacrifice, like my soul was like, that's not the word,
Mhm.
right? It's like, what are you willing to one be grateful to do? What are you willing to do to, achieve that next level?
Mhm. Can you pinpoint some of the things? Because obviously, like you say, are you willing to work harder? But I've trained with you for a long time, and in terms of like the training sessions themselves, like we pushed hard every session. Like I can think of like our leg days, and I mean our legs show for it. Like literally every season, your legs got better and better and better. So then, what does actually working harder mean? Because I feel like we were giving that top end effort every single day when we walked in there.
Yes, and now that we're in this realm of bodybuilding, it's like it's a 24-hour sport, 365, right? It's like, okay, I know I can train hard. Am I resting hard?
Hmm.
Am I relaxing hard? Am I staying hard? You know what I mean?
Pause.
where, it's, where it's like where you sit there and be like, yo, am I eating all my meals exactly how it's written? Sure, it might be in there like, yeah, have your one-off planned meal, but like, are you eating like an asshole?
Hmm.
Are you snacking on Gigi's Teddy Grahams at 2 o'clock in the morning? It's like that. It's the details now, and I'm privileged to be in this spot where it's like I can worry about the details. Well, the 95 is already taken care of. I can now worry about the one percenters, the margins that I have to focus on, and being like, okay, cool. I have to go to sleep at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every day, and that's been an absolute staple in my life ever since I'm working with Joe because I need to go to the next level. Same thing with my meals. I have alarm clocks that go off at the same time every single day. Even people at work, they hear the alarm clock, Coop gotta eat. It's like, yeah, bro, hey, pause. Hey, the students, I don't care. I'm gonna go eat my meal and I'm gonna come back and get after it.
Yep. So then when it comes to recovering harder, right? And learning how to relax, are you someone who finds it difficult to unplug? Because that is something that I see, especially like with a lot of my clients, especially for like type A individuals who they they derive a lot of their internal value and their sense of self-worth from achievement or from how hard they work, which makes it very difficult for them to unplug and relax because they feel like they haven't earned the privilege to relax. Is that difficult for you?
Yes. So I just came back from a vacation, went to go see my wife's family. And like I didn't bring my meals because typically if I go on vacation, because I don't go on vacation often, I'm not bringing meals. That's not happening, right? Give me my 3 days, I don't care. But within those 3 days, it's like I'm being very conscious on what I'm eating.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm still like, hey man, like I don't want to like overdo this. And it's like it took me like day two to kind of be like, hey man, you can have some ice cream.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right. But even then, I was looking at my old training footage most of the time, right? And I was studying. I was studying like, okay, I had a chance to get out the forest and truly look at like the entire field and being like, okay, how's my training? How can I get better? Okay, how does my physique look like? What went wrong in this recent prep? What went right in this recent prep? And I start basically auditing everything and be like, okay, cool. Like, I need to find gaps in my game. I need to find gaps in my game. So, all in all, that time wasn't spent relaxing in the most typical sense of like unplugging because it's like, I'm stuck, dude. I'm all in. I can't unplug. And I'm okay with that. But it was time for me to game plan, for lack of a better word, right? Figure out what's the next, 5, 10 moves career wise. Like, how do I make this bodybuilding thing fit in life? So, yeah, no, I'm not if anything, like my relaxation is like me just sitting on the couch, just existing, just like charging my battery. That's like my charging station. I have a little like recliner right here. It's like even in prep, I'm just like sit there and Sierra just like comes in, looks at me, and I'm like whether like dozing off or something because like I'm dog tired or just sitting there scrolling on phone,
Mhm.
just like relax, just like sit down. And then whenever I have those like periods of time, like vacation and stuff like that, then I can sit there and be like, look at Sierra, and then we can talk about bodybuilding because she's not repulsive by it. She's like, oh my God, why do you still talk about bodybuilding? It's like, no, 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 I can talk to her about it and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think? And she has no idea what I'm talking about. But she's just like, she's happy to fucking be there. And I'm like, and that support is absolutely awesome.
That's amazing. And that was actually one of the things that I talked about with your coach, Joe Percher, on the previous episode is your partner a force multiplier? And so how is Sierra, your wife, a force multiplier in terms of helping you be a better bodybuilder?
She's not.
Does
She's not.
she cook your
Because the
meals?
way, huh?
Does she cook your meals?
No.
Okay.
So how I structure my game is ultimate extreme ownership, right? So if I need like, hey man, like I'm at work, it's a late day, can you pick up some ground beef? Can you cook my chicken? Stuff like that. She's always available. She's a stay-at-home wife, stay-at-home mom. I don't want to disrespect like stay-at-home mom. And so hey man, like, hey, can you cook my meals if you're not busy? She's like, yeah, I got you. No issue. Never complains, nothing like that. But
Mhm.
the way I live my life is like I have bodybuilding here, military here, and then life here. And I do my best not to like let one affect the other. So if I had a terrible placement, Gigi after San Antonio didn't like the look, didn't like it. It was not good. But Gigi saw the sparkly metal and was like, wow. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't care that I won a loss. She has no idea. She just wants dad in a sparkly medal. So I could leave a medal on her and we move on. Same thing at Optimum. She looked at the medal. Wow. Give her the medal. I love the medal. She took it to Andy's, the ice cream joint. She wore it. I was like, yo, give me the medal back, bro. I'm gonna lose it. It's like the only thing she cared about was the medal. So going back to Sierra, where it's like we're like the military is not a force multiplier. It's like, no, because it doesn't intercede. I want to keep them completely separate and just take ownership of it all. And whenever I'm done bodybuilding for the day, like really training, because that's where like most of my mental game is in training. Everything else is like, hey, you gotta eat your food, drink your water anyway. So whatever. Take off my training hat, and now I'm just dad and husband at home. And if I talk bodybuilding, I talk bodybuilding, but it's not like deep bodybuilding, if that makes any sense.
So she's not like deeply embedded into the process where you're relying on her, is what you're saying.
No,
But
no,
she
she's my
does,
cheerleader.
but she does still provide like the support, obviously, that a good partner has in terms of still making your life easy so that you can do bodybuilding at a high level.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Now, in terms of that, because I think this is going to be a really important conversation for a lot of the people watching who are either, in relationships, who are married, etc. Is, we talked about leveling up. How has your marriage leveled up in such a way that it now supports bodybuilding better? Because you learn new things about yourself as a
Mhm.
man, but then also as yourself as a husband, and also as a couple in every prep. So how has the dynamic and the fabric of your marriage changed for the better over the years to make you a better bodybuilder?
So after each prep, we sit down and say, I have an after actions report and sit down and be like, what went well, what went wrong? And how can I, because it's mostly the bodybuilder that's the issue,
Hmm.
right? Most of the time, it's the bodybuilder. And I sit there and be like, okay, cool. What's something that you need me to do next time that I didn't do this time,
Hmm.
right? And early in my bodybuilding career, she wasn't with it, right? She wasn't in all in. Um, I was winning, but it was kind of like, like it just is what it is. He just does this thing. But as time goes on and like as we built a family and stuff like that, then it was a lot more like, hey man, are you with me or not? And we had to have that hard conversation of like, this is where I'm going. You coming?
Hmm.
And we sat there and was like, yes, I'll be there right there next to you. And then she started to be an active observer of bodybuilding,
Hmm.
right? Because even then I was like, my entire thing is like I've been making my own meals. She did it every once in a while, but like she would like jack it up every once in a while. I'm like, this ain't seasoned. What is this?
Seasoned like a white woman.
Yeah, I swear. And I'm like, what is this? Um, but what was I talking about? But yeah, I'll cook my food. I'll do everything by myself because that's just like me as a person. I want to. This is my thing. I don't want to interrupt anybody else with theirs. But now she is like in the bodybuilding community, like at the gym. She's known as like the bakery woman. She gives
Yep.
all like the cookies and stuff like that, and like just seeing her have like I don't like influence, but like a little influence on these like young ladies' lives in the gym. It's like it's crazy. She has so many friends now. Like she started Bible study with some of the ladies in there. She like bakes with some of the ladies in there, and it's like it's really, really cool. Now that she's like, let's go. So after the after actions report, we every year we sit there. Hey, what do we need to do? This last prep, because the whole thing is it's kind of like a post show rebound. After your first post show rebound, it's like, okay, yes, you gain 30 pounds in 2 days, but the next one you might gain 10. And the next one, you're more mature and you gain 4. It's the
Right.
same thing here where after Optimum, we kind of looked at each other and was like, what do you want different? And it's like, that was good. That was good work. But that doesn't mean we're perfect now. It's
Hmm.
because like, hey, we checked off a box. We won. I got my trophy. Now the next prep is like, how am I going to be an asshole this next prep?
How are you an asshole this prep?
I wasn't. I honestly and that's my badge of honor. That's my Olympia trophy right there.
Yep.
Because I truly I in the Bible, it speaks about how if you fast, don't let the world know that you're fasting.
Mm.
Those who let the world know that they fast, they already got the reward. And the reward is the affirmation like, oh man, you're going through a lot. You're so strong.
Hmm.
But when you fast properly, you wash your face, you wear your fast well. And that's something that I adopted where it's like, I want to wear bodybuilding well. I want to
Hmm.
wear it where if I'm in prep, you would have no idea besides me getting leaner. If I'm in the off season, you would have no idea unless my face gets chunky, you know? So it's like, hey, wear it well. So I kept every day, wear it well, wear it well. Were there some days where I'm like, didn't wear it well? Yep,
Hmm.
dragging ass, stuff like that, sure. But like, just like bodybuilding, you're not going to win every single day. There's 365 days. If you can walk away with 95% of those days, hell, 90% of those days as wins, that's a huge, you made a quantum leap that year.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this prep. It's like, dude, if I drop a plate or two, I'm not stressing it, short memory, leave it alone. And then the next day is going to be the next day. Hey, baby, I'm sorry. I was just tired. please forgive me. She's great, so much grace. Bam. And we're right back to work.
When you talk about wearing it well in terms of being a bodybuilder, what does that actually look like to you in terms of behaviors, whether it's either inside the gym or outside the gym?
Someone said to me, I was like 3 weeks out or something like that. It was deep in the prep. I was like, dude, you still smiling, man. Like, would you get refeed? I was like, no, no, not at all, actually. I was like, I will not be one of these guys in the gym thinking that I'm suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a suffering contest. It's like I am a guy that likes training and going to get in a damn Speedo, get a girl to glaze me up and step on stage to get critiqued. It's not that deep. I'm not going to war. Do not get me started with this going to war thing in bodybuilding. I hate it. We're going to move right past it. Dude, you were just bodybuilding. And whenever I reduced it to just bodybuilding, it was like, oh, it's not that deep. It's kind of like do you remember we were doing stiff legs in the corner and I was stuck like 4.5 plates and like my performance was regressing because I was making it a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there, I'm like, dude, like, I will break this. I will break this. And it wasn't until like I let it go. And I was like, oh, like, it wasn't like nonchalant because I truly cared, but it was like, it's not that big of a deal. And I allow like my flow to come through. Dude, I was like, all right, cool. Like now we're cooking. And I think that was like the fuck you state. I mean, the fuck you video on
Yeah.
Instagram. You remember that?
Yep.
It's just like,
Yep.
that was that set where I was like, yeah, like, let's go. Like we in here now. So just like, bloop. You're not suffering. Relax. Just go and have fun. Wear it well.
And that reminds me a lot of this concept from this book that I've been reading. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis.
Mhm.
And in that book, the author who's talking about, mental performance within obviously the world of tennis, but the concept applies to athletes everywhere. He talks about how our brain typically operates out of one of two systems, and he calls it self one and self two. And the way that he describes self one is that self one is highly analytical, it is judgmental, it is always trying to pass judgment on whether something is good or something is bad rather than letting it just be. And so self one is highly, I don't want to say emotional, but it is highly involved in trying to like name everything, so much so that it takes you out of the actual moment because your brain is so focused on, if we're talking about tennis, like that was a bad swing, that was a bad serve, or that was a good swing, that was a good serve. And obviously if you're thinking about that, you're not thinking about the act of playing, right? And so when we talk about doing things that you've done repetitively so many times. Like Kobe Bryant standing at the free throw line, he's not thinking about his free throw mechanics. Like he's not like, okay, elbow goes up, right? Wrist comes back, ball goes. Like he's not thinking about that. It just happens, right? It's muscle memory. And so with self two, that's where he starts talking about this is like the intuitive part of your brain. That's the part of your brain that's not trying to judge or criticize. It's childlike, it's curious, it allows you to just perform. And I think that that is what you're talking about right there with like the stiff legs, where it's like the first time that you did that top set and you're sitting there and you're judging yourself and you're criticizing yourself and you're just like, oh, why am I not getting it? That takes away from your ability to actually do the work because your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. We have a really good skill of being able to shift our attention between a lot of different things at once, but we cannot, as human beings, fully give our attention to multiple things at once. And so, if you're fully giving your attention to criticizing and judging yourself, you're not actually focused on doing the task. And so, what you just talked about there is you made that switch to self too, where you were like, I'm going to go into this next set without the judgment, without the criticism, and I'm just going to flow. And obviously, when we're talking about flow state in athletes, one of the things that I find is that flow state is characterized by presence. Are you actually present in the doing of the task and in the being of your experience. Like, can you be here right now? Because obviously, if you're sitting there thinking about, like, if I don't hit this set, then I am fill in the blank, you're not
Yep.
actually present. Your brain is somewhere else. And so, if you can
Yep.
approach those top sets with a sense of presence, you're going to have a higher probability of unlocking that flow. That's that self too.
Literally leg day yesterday, right?
Mhm.
Where I'm a very like Luke Pritchard. Shout out to Luke, man. That's my dog, dude. He's hilarious.
I got to get them on here.
You do, you definitely do. He was like, bodybuilding is for retards, right?
Yep.
And I like sat there and I'm like, he's so right. Because when I'm doing a set, I want this set to be so perfect that during the set, I'm thinking, let's say it's a hamstring curl. Are my knees aligned with my hips?
Hmm.
How's my bracing? How's my hands? Where my hands should be? Blah blah blah. And it's like, Coop, how many times you've done a hamstring curl, homie? Go do a hamstring curl.
Yep.
Like, and that's the thing where it's like I have to like take a step back and say, it's not that deep. It's just another free throw. It's not that deep. It's just another set. And I can and that makes me unlock that new gear of just going. Like yesterday, dude, I took the hip press. I think I did 6.5 plates for 20. That's like I never did. I've never done that before. But the one thing I did do was stop thinking. I put my eyes on one target. It was on the actual like leg what do you call that thing? Platform.
Yeah.
And I stared at it. I didn't think about nothing else. I stared at it and I was like, just go.
Hmm.
I am dumb. I am dumb right now. I move, wait till wait, not move. And that's exactly what I did. And exactly what you said was like self too, just hey, that's what I need to do to perform my best. Just turn it off.
Yeah. And honestly, like, the analogy that I think of in that moment is, if we're talking about basketball, every basketball player wants to swish their shot, right? When you're shooting a three pointer, it counts for 3 points whether you swish it, whether it goes off the backboard, whether it
You
bounces
know?
up off the rim 3 times and goes around in a circle. As long as it falls through the net, like, it's 3 points no matter what.
Yep.
It's like, I think back to like Kawhi Leonard game 7, right? When he hit that fadeaway 3 pointer in the corner.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah.
it only counts for 3 points, but it counts
Mm-hmm.
for 3 points. So if you
Yeah.
take that same approach to your sets that you're doing, I think that the good way to look at it is there's an acceptable level of precision and accuracy that needs to occur, and maybe you shave a few points off of 100, so it's like 95% accuracy, but what you lose in the 5% accuracy, you're able to make up in intensity by 10 more points. And
Yep.
so what ends up happening is, if you're 100% accurate, for most people, you're probably losing some of your intensity. And is it worth the loss of the intensity to be slightly more accurate? Depends on the movement. If it's a small movement like a bicep curl, like, probably I don't want to be swinging my whole body just to
Mm,
be more intense.
yeah.
But if it's something like a hip press, it's like, I'm going to send it. I want full intensity, full attack, rather
Mm,
than I need to keep all of the weight precisely on, the outer sweep of my quads. Like, no, no, no. Send it, get that load as heavy as possible that you can control, and take that set to hell.
yep. Oh yeah, we locked in. Hey, clip that because a lot of kids need to hear that. It's almost like I see it a lot, especially in the gym now, because we have a lot of younger kids in the gym now. And I'm about to be unk in a second, all right?
You're
Where I
almost
saw this
30.
guy. I'm almost 30. It's disgusting. Uh, I saw this young man. He did the prime incline press. He loaded, I don't know what machine he did prior or nothing like that. But I saw him go to the prime incline. He loaded up his plates. He had his little logbook. He hit 3 reps, unloaded the weight, and went to his next exercise. And I was like, whoa, wait, like, wait. And then he went to like the lat pull down later, put the pen in, wait a second, did 4 reps, grabbed his stuff, and dipped out. And I was like, wait, huh? And I was like, man, I should really say something. And I will never, so whenever I see him again, I'm gonna be like, hey, man, like, what the hell you doing? Hey, get over here.
That's
Yeah.
that that's that low volume training.
Shut up. Shut up.
um Man, there was another point that I was gonna make with that too, in terms of um the training aspect, and for some reason it slipped my mind. It was if I can rethink of it, I will. One thing that I you talked about right now with like, man, I'm almost unk in the gym. When you said that you have like your recliner at home, that was the first
Uh,
thought that went in my head. I was like, bro, you're grandpa already,
sure.
man. My grandpa had one of those. One of those
I'm
big leather,
chilling.
one of those big leather lazy boys in the corner.
Man, that's not my chair. Every Christmas, that's his chair right there. Don't
Yeah.
sit in it.
You got a lamp right next to you too, huh?
No, so I had to bring this light out because it's still dark outside. But yeah, no. I should. Oh, I should. And there's room back there? No, Gigi will jack it up. Never mind. All right, cool. Let's stay on topic.
So then when it comes to training, obviously, right? And like you and I have talked extensively about what it means to train well. Where do you go to right before a big set? And when I'm talking about a big set, I mean like that set of hip press or like a hack squat. One of the what we would consider a big mover. Where does Kyrie's brain go?
Depends on whatever fuel source I need, right? So I think it was Kobe. I think it was in Relentless actually, maybe, where he talked about just find like letting the soul find your music. So whenever I go to
Hmm.
the gym, I don't have a gym playlist. I just let my soul dictate, for lack of a better word, the vibe, right? Like where am I going today? Do I need to like run from hell? Do I need to run towards heaven? Do I just need to stay present and just execute? Where's Kyrie Cooper today? And so yesterday it was like Ultra Instinct Goku. All right, you probably have no idea what I just said. It's okay. Google it.
You
It's the
gotta
most
watch
badass
Dragon
scene of
Ball.
all time. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
Come on,
Yo,
dog.
I didn't think you did because I remember I told you I was like some Dragon Ball reference. I don't watch that. Or maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it was like Attack on Titan or something like that. I don't know.
Man.
Let me be a nerd. But I just let myself just flow, right? I literally put the Ultra Instinct theme song, the dun dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
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 yeah, and
dun,
it's
dun,
like, okay,
dun,
cool,
dun.
like just go. And then like in another set, I can go dark, right? And this is where I'm running from hell, where I sit there and I think about Sierra saying like, hey, like this bodybuilding thing, like, did you really make it worth it for our family? You know, like you did all this bodybuilding thing, and this was the end result. Or my favorite, this was back whenever Gigi was first born, and I put this on like another podcast, like way like years ago, and it was hearing, "Dad, I'm hungry."
Oof.
Boom! All right, cool. I'm ready to take over the world. Just hearing that, because I'm like, my baby will never go hungry. She'll never go, Dad, I'm hungry. And that's me saying, hey, like bodybuilding didn't work.
Hmm.
I failed as a man. And that cuts deep. That gets emotional, but still bottled up enough so I'm not crying. You know what I mean? Hell, you see me in the gym like drop a tear or two before a set because I'm just like, I'm in it, right?
Yep.
But I can bottle up and then I can use it. So it just depends. Where's the vibe that day? What am I training? Arms? Chill out, bro. Like, not the time to trauma dump. You want third bicep.
How often do you tap into more of that, I guess, darker fuel? I don't really want to call it darker fuel. I mean,
It's
because I
just
think it's still valuable.
so valuable. And it's really like the gas tank is already low, like deep in a prep type
Mm.
deal. Then I start thinking about like my competition. What are they doing? They're watching me. Even like yesterday, I was sitting there because I saw your podcast with Joe, and because I always talked about this too of like sending a message, right? Do you remember we trained legs with John?
Lock it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna send him a message because he just turned pro, great guy, love him to death. But
Yep.
that session, I was like, I'm gonna send him a message that he's not gonna fuck with me. Like there's no shot in hell. He might be stronger, but he will not take this set further than I can.
Hmm.
And literally from then, it's like one of those things where I can pull on is send a message. If someone watches this training clip right now,
Hmm.
what are they saying? And that's why I posted on Instagram was like, I want to be respected for my work, my training. My physique is second. Look at that set and be like, that's nasty. And I have a long ways to go. I'm not there yet. But the quest, the chase to be like, yeah, Coop, that's a nasty motherfucker in the gym. That's it.
Where do you kind of get that inspiration from, or from who modeled that for you?
Like, I don't know. I don't know. It could be a combination of like all the people that I've like watched and stuff like that, like Kobe, Michael, you know. Me personally, like I take things personally, sometimes too personally. Yeah, sometimes stop laughing. Cause that's the thing where it's weird, right? Cause as soon as I said that, you just like think of 10 things. It was like this guy.
Oh man.
Where I have the tendency to take things a little bit too far. Um and it's just like that I derive from like my personality. It's not something I have to like create. It's something that was already there.
It's that edge that people talk about.
Yeah. And if you're not careful, you're gonna cut yourself on that edge. So that's where you have to like sometimes like you see me in the gym like right here, pump the brakes.
Yep.
Because I know that I'm close. I say, hey,
Mhm.
Coop, home, home.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about how, especially in the world of bodybuilding, that comparison is the thief of joy. And one thing I've really tried to drive home with my athletes is that comparison can be the thief of joy, but comparison in and of itself is not inherently a bad thing. In fact, I think that comparing yourself actually, if you are able to view it objectively, provides you with the information necessary to then have the clear path and make that next step. So when you step off stage at optimum, you see what you look like compared to those other guys. And that gives you the information to say, this is the standard, this level of quads, this level of conditioning, this level of separation, right? This level of posing, presentation. And so if you can use that information of comparison in a way where your brain just views it as feedback, I think that gives you that clear next step on, okay, this is what I need to work on.
Yep.
Have you ever found yourself falling into that trap where comparison does become the thief of joy, where it's not just objective feedback? And if so, how have you dealt with it?
I don't think I have. Have I? Have I said some things and you were just like, I don't know about that one, Coop. Because I can't think of a time where I have like compared myself and then not use it as like I'm pretty objective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very logical. Where I can look at something like, okay, cool. I'm not there at an Olympiad level yet.
Okay.
And I look at them like I'm not mad at it. It just is. Like, okay, there's a runway for work. And a runway for work, dude, send it. Because that means I can do this for a long time now. But yeah, I don't ever sit there and look at, Nas, Yemi or anything like that. But they're at the Olympia stage. I'm not. It's like, nah, bro, I don't they're on their own journey and they're running their own race. And like you can't really compare someone else when you're the only one in the race. Who are you comparing yourself to? You know what I mean? Where you look at Anton's what, 23? I feel like he's been 21 for like 15 years already, dude. And he looks insane. But I don't look at that and be like, man, if I would have started at 17, nah, bro. Like, I don't care. I'm so proud of these guys.
Is that something that just doesn't even cross your mind, or is it something that will cross your mind, but you're so quick to shut it down that it doesn't even become internal dialogue?
I'm safe to say like it doesn't really even cross my mind. Because I don't even think like recently, it's like, no, I really compare myself often to me. That's where you see me post a lot where I'm like, hey man, like this is me comparing myself to me last year. And look, it's a totally different bodybuilder. And the next year, it's the same thing. Like I constantly critique me against me because that's it's my physique. It's my craft.
Mhm.
in this game, it's not like I can look at game film of Anton training or something like that and being like, how can I? No, it's a game of offense. Like, go execute. It's only you. You have your own plan. And if it's trained 2 days on, 1 day off, then go do that. This guy trains 7 days a week. Don't go to that because like that works for him.
And I think that's so true what you just said is that, bodybuilding is a game of offense only. You can't play defense in bodybuilding unless you're going to go over and like physically sabotage your competition or something like that. You go spill some water on their tan right before we get on stage,
It's like
right? Which that is not an endorsement to do that. So please don't do that if you're listening to this
didn't even
podcast.
think about it, but that's genius. Just saying.
um, and one thing that I find is like, as you're going through the process of bodybuilding and like when we start looking at like these milestones where it's like a lot of people view each show as a milestone, it's hard because you're always caught in the middle. And what I mean by that is hopefully every show you're improving, right? And so you're comparing yourself to your last show. And so you're always hopefully better than your last showing, but then you're never as good as what your best showing could be. And so I think for
Yes.
a lot of people, it's very hard to reconcile like that middle ground of if you're not only aiming up and looking at the gap that exists between where you currently are and where you could be, you end up losing that edge because then you end up focusing on the wrong thing. And that's where I think a lot of people don't take the time to actually be objective about the fact that, when I got on stage 1 year ago, I looked completely different. I look so much better now this time around. And they don't actually take a moment to appreciate it and actually smell the flowers. So, obviously, for you, you recently got off stage at Optimum, right? And the look wasn't what you would have wanted it to be. We talk about like what it could have been. The standard for what it could have been is up here. Where you came in was below that. But it was still above your previous show, San Antonio, right? So if you had put San Antonio Coop on stage next to Optimum Coop would have probably won. Do you agree or disagree?
I don't know. I have to look at the pictures. I really do.
I
Because like
think
from the
Optimum Coop would have won. I think the
Optimum
amount
Coop,
of muscle you would put on would have made up the difference for
yeah,
the
he would have
where
like
your
he
look
would
was
have just straight up just overtook the San Antonio one. Yeah, and even like the conditioning was comparable. Like it wasn't that. Like the only shot that I feel like San Antonio would win. Why am I talking like I already looked at it when I already looked at it, right? The only
at.
shot that I the only
Yeah,
shot
you act like you didn't spend the
that
first 24 hours after you got off stage looking at the last pictures. Come on, dog.
the only shot that San Antonio Coop would like have an edge on is that back double. But from the front, it's like especially with the leg growth and stuff like that, yeah, I would if side chest, yeah. Yeah, I think I'd be like 4-1 optimal.
So then when you look back at Optimum, is there any sense of pride that you have for the fact that you still improved? Or is it something that kind of gives you this like itchy feeling that just doesn't feel good because you didn't hit the mark?
Uh, all right.
I know we're getting real deep now.
It's a little bit of both, right? Because it's a little bit of both. And it's because all right, cool. We're going there. I feel like I let Joe down, right? Because I was hell bent and being like, I'm gonna give you your first pro win. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be the guy. I got you. You know, you pour so much into me. This is the least I can do for you is to be a good representation of like what we have done.
Mhm.
So that that hangs on me, and that's the love the loss which built you. And I constantly think about it. It's in my everyday folder actually, and I don't let that ever run away from me. And I'm gonna hold on to that for the rest of my career, because it hurts. Uh, However, objectively, looking at like previous looks in the prep and stuff like that, it's just like, dude, that's nasty. Like when I was like, oh, and you look at it like, damn, That's nasty. And that creates the new baseline because I don't look at optimum as the baseline. I look at that physique as the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
So the picture of optimum is like whatever. They exist. I acknowledge them. I think them. When I move it to the side and say, okay, but this is where you truly are. So you can build upon here. So the progress, yeah, like once again, me and Joe killed it this past off season, right? We had a
Mm-hmm.
little short off season and went straight into prep. Even in prep, I feel like I've grown. So it's like, yeah, I can nod my head at that. But man, I never again. Never again.
When I think back to like that physique that you're talking about, the reason I've been looking down is because I'm on my phone and I remember that morning that we trained together. I'm looking at it right now. It was April 20th. And you posed afterwards. And I still have the video here where you like turn around and you hit that glute shot and I just started laughing
Yeah.
because I saw what you looked like in that moment and like I had never seen you look like that. And it's like
Mhm.
I've been there right there for the last 3 years since you did Texas State against
Yeah.
Urs. What was that, 2023, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
And so it's like right now I'm looking at these pictures, this video, and I see what you're talking about where, a few weeks out, you see what that standard is, and then it becomes this is the worst I'm going to look until I get on stage. But then you get on stage and you guys ended up losing the look, unfortunately. And that was just, that's one of those things where it happens, right? Shit happens in bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding. Yeah.
You're not going to nail it every time. You're not
Yeah.
going to nail it every time. So then when we start thinking about like the process moving forward, what what do you need to change about your process to ensure something like that doesn't happen again? Because obviously you're saying like never again. But if we're talking about being a good coachable athlete, obviously you're following the coach's plan. And so that means you have to relinquish your power or your decision making to coach. So what do you guys need to do within your process as coach and athlete to ensure that that doesn't happen again?
I think it's a lot of like bodybuilding's so simple, right? So I think it's just simple, ruthless adherence.
Hmm.
Just that's it. It's a trust that he sends me plan, and I trust that he put his heart and soul into this plan,
Hmm.
and the trust that he sees my check-ins and know that during that week I poured my heart and soul into bodybuilding. So we're both in this to win this shit. There's no excuses like, well, my fish died, so I went to have like 12 donuts. It's like, no, like that's not a thing, right? You know what I mean? So in the process is like just do that more. Do that harder. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm doing what I already need to do, but it's like once again, the 95 is already taken care of.
Hmm.
What are the one percenters? And this is where it's like you have to search for those one percenters half the time, right? Is that body work that I have to start, allocating money towards? That could be, I literally just thought about that right now. It was like, hey man, like I should probably get body work done. That's probably gonna help my posing and also my connections with my muscle. That's that 1%. That's not gonna change anything on really like game day, like a big needle mover. But it's like, hey, how can I improve in this right here? So like just it's a search for those 1% because they're not going to make themselves obvious. They're not the big blaring red button with a do-rag on saying pick me, pick me, pick me. It's like no. It's going to be the subtle things that you're going to have to go find out and learn.
One of the things I think of a lot, and this is actually recently, I picked this up, Drake Davis, him, Sip Drake, the guy I
Yeah,
follow
my
on
guy.
Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And he did a podcast with John Crouch, who's an MMA coach. And in that podcast, they talked about how for a lot of athletes, one of the things that holds them back the most is this right here, right? And it is your relationship to your phone, for instance. And what do those last 30 minutes before you go to sleep look like? Are you
Yeah.
someone who spends those 30 minutes on your phone scrolling? Well, if you are and you're doing it mindlessly, is that effective? Does that make you better? Chances are, no, it doesn't. And so he says, well, if those 30 minutes could be spent doing mindfulness, right? Would you be a more present individual through your process? If you spent those 30 minutes in your Bible, would you be more connected to your faith?
Yeah.
And then you start looking at that and expanding the time horizon over the course of a year. If we're just talking 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes feels like a very insignificant time of your day. Like 30 minutes
Yeah.
flies by. But over the course of a year, that's 183 hours. If you got 183 more hours worth of sleep over the course of a year, would you be a better bodybuilder? If you got
Hmm.
183 more hours of connection with your partner, would you be a better bodybuilder and a better partner, a better spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend? You get 183 more hours in the Bible, would you feel more connected to your faith, right? And so that's where I think those 1% non-obvious things really come out and shine. And I was literally talking to one of my clients earlier today, and one of the things that she struggles with as a business owner, she's got almost 100 athletes that she coaches, is she doesn't make time to take care of herself. And what taking care of herself looks like is taking 5 or 10 minutes in the middle of a day between clients to go step outside and enjoy some sunshine. She'll spend 5 or 10 minutes instead on her phone because, well, the phone is still there. I could still be doing more work even though I have 5 or 10 minutes break in between clients. I could use that to go get some more water, stay hydrated. That's going to make you a better bodybuilder. I could use that time to go sit outside, get some sunshine. That's going to make you feel more present, right? All those things that you are skipping out on is where you're no longer winning the margins. You're muted.
My bad. I'm new to this podcast thing. Anyway, I was saying like I'm gonna clip that and put that in my everyday folder, right? Because it's like, how can I take like 30 minutes? So before I go to sleep, I'm reading my Bible. That's my thing. Um, Now it's like, hey, 30 minutes with Sierra, every night for an entire year. I'm putting her through the mattress 30 minutes every night. You know, that's 183 hours of me putting her through the mattress. Hell yeah, bro, let's do
Bro, that is
it.
not no 30 minutes, bro. That's about 3 minutes tops. Come on, man.
But no, it really puts things into perspectives of like how that compounds. It
Yeah,
compounds quick,
absolutely.
and in investments. A lot of people be like, oh, investments. Dude, if you put $1 every single day into a jar, it's like, yeah, the first week you have $7, but like, don't stop. The gym, it's an investment. Yeah, you put on, let's say, 1 gram of muscle um, a week or whatever. Over the course of so and so, it's like, dude, you put on 10 pounds and you know what I mean? So it's like, hey, like compounds.
Yeah. And I think that there's also a fine line where you can over optimize your life, where if you're trying to optimize every single little thing, it ends up being more of a detriment. Where, you have those people that they're they have a 2 hour nightly routine that they have to go through in order to wind down for bed. And Chris Williamson talks about this on one of his podcasts where he had a friend who had a 2 hour wind down routine before bed every night. He has the blue light blockers and he's got the mouth tape on and he's got this whole like face hygiene washing routine that he goes through and whatnot. And if he doesn't go through it, then he doesn't end up falling asleep because he feels like he messed up his routine and he's not going to get that optimal sleep. And then he talks about this story where there was one time he was like downstairs brushing his teeth, right, getting ready to go to bed, and the guy's girlfriend is in bed like watching TikTok or whatever, like doing like the worst possible thing you can do right before bed. And she ended up walking downstairs and like turning on the light in the bathroom because she was looking for something. The guy's like, ah, right. And then he ended up not getting any sleep that night because in his mind, like he ruined his nighttime routine. His girlfriend, after scrolling TikTok for 30 minutes, goes straight to bed.
Yep.
And so there's a fine line between like over optimizing and then not optimizing at all. And it's where can you find that golden zone in the middle where you're doing all the right things without overcomplicating the small things, like majoring in the minors. We try not to do that.
So what are some things that you feel like you were over optimizing or making a huge deal that now you're just like, that was dumb?
Right now, nothing.
Good.
I think I've done a pretty good job. Um, Actually, I'd say within my business, I've tried to automate as much as I can.
Yeah.
So much so where it ends up taking my time away from doing the actual work I like doing or reading more books that make me a better practitioner because I'm trying to learn how to edit a podcast where it's like, is that really a needle mover to have, a couple little words and stuff pop up here? No, I'm not trying to do like a Joe Rogan type podcast. I'm not trying to be the best podcast in the world, the biggest podcast in the world. I know it's not realistic. But if I'm taking time away from doing what I love and doing the craft itself, is what I'm doing on the flip side, trying to over optimize it. And I've had to catch myself with that where I don't need to spend 3 hours learning how to edit something or edit an Instagram post the exact way I like it. It's like, bro, just throw it up. People aren't going to care. Hell, they're gonna look at it for 3 seconds. They're gonna double tap it or not, and they're gonna move on with their day, and they're gonna forget you even posted it. And so that's where I think I tend to over optimize. In terms of bodybuilding, I don't think I over optimize anymore.
Then like what you're supposed to be, right? Like
Yeah,
there's a proper, like you said, there's a balance of like optimization. Hey, like 8 hours of sleep. I'm in bed, 8 hours before I think I set my alarm of when I want to wake up.
yeah, but I'm not losing sleep if I get into bed or if I get into bed 8 hours before and be like, oh, well, I need 15 minutes to fall asleep, so I'm only getting 7 hours and 45 minutes. Like, I'll be
Yeah.
completely honest with you. There's been a lot of nights where I've gotten less than 4 hours of sleep recently because I'm out here in Korea. I'm waking up at 3:30 in the morning to take client calls at 4:15,
Uh-huh.
and I'm staying up late working on the business because I know that's going to pay me back more than if I'd gotten an extra 2 or 3 hours of sleep for bodybuilding. It's like I know bodybuilding isn't going to be where I'm making my nut, so to
Mhm.
speak. And like that's not what I'm going to be remembered for, is not like the physique that I built. What I am going to be remembered for and what my legacy is going to be is within this field of mental performance. And so I'm putting all of my eggs in that basket, even if it means there are times where bodybuilding does suffer a little bit in terms of, I'm losing a little bit of sleep, or maybe I have to cut a work and exercise short on my workout because I got to come home and take a client call. Maybe I didn't time manage well enough. And that's where I need to worry about my optimization.
And it's just this push and pull of just whatever life gives you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, what does this season require for you to be? And if it calls for like less family time and more bodybuilding time or more military time in my case, then it's like, it takes what it takes. Pay the price. Or
Take
someone
for
else
the
is going to
thing.
pay it for you.
Well, they're not going to pay it for you. They're going to pay it in spite of you.
Ah, yes.
And they're the ones that
That's
are going
one thing you taught me is language matters.
to.
Language matters, dude. There's a lot of times that I've said something, you're just like, wait, hold on. In sentence number 2, word number 5, you said optimal. And that's not the right word.
It is it is both it is a double-edged sword, right? Because there's times where, I'll be talking to Kayla and she'll say something and I'm a pedantic asshole about it. And I'm just like, no, 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 the the correct word was actually this instead. And that's one of those
Yeah,
things that annoys her to no end. Like that is one of those things where it's like I could be a better boyfriend in this moment right now and not be like that.
yeah.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to touch on as well is, you kind of talked about how with you as an athlete, one of the responsibilities that you feel is being the guy that Joe wins his first pro show with. You're still prepping, right?
No.
Okay.
Just going through like a mini cut right now. My health took a left turn. I think I talked to you like my resting heart rate was in the hundreds. Now it's in the 60s. Glory to God. My blood pressure was like 140s, 150s over like 90 something. We got that down to like 110 over 50 something. So once again, glory to God. Shout out to Joe because like the military doctors, they weren't going to see me until late August. And
Mm,
imagine living with a resting heart rate of 100 for 2 months straight, dude. I was tired.
yeah.
But yeah, so no prep at all.
Okay. I thought you were aiming at a show for later on in the year. So
God
that's
told
my
me no,
mistake.
so I listened.
Yep. But that doesn't change the question, right? It just changes the timeline. Do you feel any pressure to be that first pro win for Joe, despite the timeline? Because obviously he's got other pros who are probably going to compete now before you. But do you feel any sort of pressure to win?
No, no. Um, because it's like that was once again, there's a time and season for everything. And that season, it was like, I want to be his first pro win, right? If that doesn't happen, it's not like I'm gonna like cry myself to sleep. It's like, oh, it just is what it is.
Hmm.
But like, I just want to be a guy I want to be Michael Jordan on a roster. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah, like I have guys. I have my Scotty. I got Dennis. I got Steve Kerr over there. I got Bill Cartwright over there. Mike, Mike. Oh yeah, that's my Mike. And goes back to like, because his roster's like, these guys work their faces off.
Oh, I know.
Like the standard of work that Anson has, Brad, Brandon Hale, who
Will.
else? Josh, Will, fucking Will, right? Like, so the standard is already there, and it goes back to what we talked about earlier, where it's like, Coop, you're gifted, bro. You can do whatever and grow. It's like that. No, no. Like I want to be respected on. I'm not going to say team because I hate bodybuilding teams, but I want to be the most respected on his roster of like this. Yeah, like sure he's gifted, but like that motherfucker don't stink. Truly, truly, So it's like that's my goal right now, being like, hey, no matter if it's off season prep or nothing, I want to be respected, and I think that's something that's really just something in my core and like a driving force for me, of just like the head nod from everybody, not the verbal, but enough for good job, young man. You're doing all right.
One thing that reminds me a lot of is Formula One. And in Formula One, obviously, it's the highest level of racing, right?
Mm,
And there's 22 drivers on the grid. And the goal, obviously, for every single one of those drivers is to be the world champion.
yeah,
But within Formula One, there are two championships. There's the driver championship, which is the individual driver who accrues the most points over the course of the season. And there's the constructors championship, which is the team of two cars. So there's 11 teams, 22 cars. The team that accrues the most points over the course of a season.
mm,
Now, within Formula One, it is very well known that the person you are most trying to beat is your teammate. Like there are sayings in Formula One that it's like, it doesn't matter where you place as long as you place ahead of your teammate. Because those seats are so sought after that if you're the second driver on your team, like good luck keeping your seat.
yeah,
Like your contract's up. Guess what? Next guy up because you couldn't beat your teammate. Like we could be the
uh-huh,
last. We could be the ninth or 10th out of 11 place team on the grid. If you're the second driver on that team, you're getting cut. The first driver's staying on. It doesn't matter if you only scored 4 points that season. You scored
yeah.
zero, you're out. And so I'm wondering if you view being on that roster where obviously like there's a camaraderie for sure where you guys all have this
Yeah.
thing in common where you guys are all working with the same coach and like it's a camaraderie, it's a brotherhood, right? It's not necessarily a team per se because you're not working towards the exact same goal. But do you feel a sense of I gotta go kill these dudes too, especially these dudes because we're all getting the same sauce, we're all getting we're all eating in the same cafeteria, we're all sleeping in the same bed kind of thing, and like we're working for the same man.
Man, I the longer I've been here is the well in bodybuilding and just growing up in general, right? I'm about to be unk, right? Um, the further I want to get away from the word like I want to kill this guy, right? And it's more so of like once again when Goku finally hit Ultra Instinct, all the gods in the audience all stood up and they were like, "It's time.
Hmm.
He's here." And that's the moment that I'm chasing. Of like, sure, like you have all these great competitors. Even like just like expanding out just to classic physique. Fuck it, bodybuilding. I just want to step on stage, and regardless of the outcome, they look at me, they all stand, the nod. It's time.
Hmm.
And just to bring it down to like Joe's roster, where I'm like, if if this was like a draft and he gets to draft his clients all over again, if
Hmm.
I'm not the number one fucking draft pick, like that's an issue. Like that's an issue because it's not like anybody else's fault. It's my fault.
Yeah.
What am I doing in my process? What am I not doing as an athlete to be the supermax contract? And
Mhm.
that's just like once again, I'm gamifying it. Am I crying myself to sleep in this metaphorical thing? No, right? But it's also a fuel source to kind of be like, how can I be the best that I possibly can be for my coach, for my family, for everyone else, so I can sit there and get that nod whenever it ends. The nod from my father-in-law, the nod from my dad, the nod from my commander whenever my time is up, and he looks at my records and be like, you done did good, kid. The nod from my Lord whenever I pull up to heaven's gates and he says, well done, my faithful servant.
Hmm.
Well done.
Good and faithful servant.
Just the head nod. Just, you're good. That's it.
It's almost like I want to be the biggest fish in my pond, and then I'm going to go out into the ocean.
Exactly.
Man, that's that's awesome to hear. And it's funny because I think like a year or two ago we were talking where you had your version of like your Kobe Bryant kill list from when Kobe was in high school and he was ranked, what was like 63rd in the nation or something like that. And he was like, well, this summer I'm going to go to all these different summer camps and I'm going to man up against every single guy that is ranked above me and I'm going to go dominate him so I can take his spot on that list.
Yeah.
Do you still have that?
It's in a logbook. I have it on the first page of a logbook, but I don't look at it, right? Because I just view bodybuilding differently now, where it's like I can't pull it to his hood and go play him in basketball, and if I
Can't play
lose, I'll
defense.
be back in 2 weeks and do
Can't
it
play
again.
defense.
Yeah, it's just like no, 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 no. Like it's almost like just climbing a ladder, And I want to see these guys win. Like I'm a big fan of these guys too, right? It's weird to say like I'm a fan of Nas because he's a competition. It's like no, he's not. Your competition isn't Nas, it's not Yemi, it's not Ramon, it's not Wesley, it's not Mike. You have to earn the right to say that they're your competition. They're in the same league, sure. Your competition is with these mid tier guys. My competition is Jay, right? My competition is John. My competition is like an Austin Espy. Those are my guys where I'm like sitting there, like literally in the field, like trying to earn my spot. I'm the third place guy trying to get that second place guy's his spot on the Formula One team,
Hmm.
right? So I understand where I am on the pecking order, and it's pretty damn low. But it's like, hey, like I still want to see these guys win because I'm a fan of Jay's physique. Austin actually looks amazing,
Yeah,
It's like the
absolutely.
potential of these guys, but it's like, hey, in this competitive game, I'm willing to outlast all of you. However, if you ever need anything, let me know.
Hmm.
There's one time, this happened in Texas Cup. There was a guy who didn't have any rice cakes or honey, and he forgot it. And I was like, yo, come over here. I got some for you because I always packed extra. Two is one is none, right?
Yep.
Sat there, broke some rice cakes, broke some bread together, talked, whatever. And then I see him in the overall and he's lined up next to me. Dude's massive. And
Yeah.
he was just like, man, what if those rice cakes cost you? And I was like, if you beat me over those rice cakes, I was never meant to win anyway.
Yeah.
And then I won the overall. And then he sent me a long message afterwards because he found my Instagram, was like, dude, like, thank you so much. There needs to be more people like you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's bodybuilding. That is competition in how I view it. Where it's like, it's a beauty pageant, bro. I'm not trying to kill nobody. Gee, like it's done. It's done. Like it's chalked. And I think it's just like I'm getting older. Ever play God of War?
No, because I didn't have a PlayStation. I was
No.
an Xbox kid.
Whack. So Kratos, right?
Absolutely. I know the lore
Uh,
because I loved the character of Kratos. So I remember there was one night specifically. I want to say I was like probably a senior in high school, and I think I spent like 3 or 4 hours watching like the full like lore of Kratos, like from
Rich.
start to finish, and I was just like, this is
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Yo, it's so dope. I was sitting there talking to Sierra, and I was like, because I was talking to her about this. She's bless her heart, she just has to listen to this conversation all the time, right? Because I always like sit there and like, hey, what do you think about? So I take Kratos, and I was new, like the new older Kratos is calmer. He's still got that dog in him, but he's not the old Kratos where he's literally just like bingo.
Not
Now he
even
can
witness.
exactly. And I sat there and I'm like, dude, I was so raw. And you remember me. I was so raw, so tight. I was just like, I'm about to kill them all. They will all know. And then it's like, now it's like old Kratos was like, you know, what I'm here. Don't find out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm still Kratos, you know what I mean? But like I want to live in a place of peace rather than sit there and wound up all the damn time. But also know that there's a time of God, I don't want to do it. There's a time to go find him.
Yeah.
And I won't, hopefully, have a chance to find him in the military. I mean, not in the military. Well, yes, definitely. I hope I don't find him in the military. But bodybuilding is just like, it was no place.
You know what that reminds me a lot of too is like how people talk about William Bonac and how like he's Unk now, right? But
Yeah.
like backstage, like he's one of like the coolest guys in the entire
Yeah.
league. Like everybody
Mhm.
looks up to William. He's amazing person to be around backstage. Like he's calm, he's joking around, he's having fun.
Yeah.
Like he's been to so many Olympias. And so when I think about that, it reminds me of this quote where it talks about don't underestimate an old man who is still playing a game where men die young
Bingo.
because they win with their
Bingo.
mind. It's like they don't have the
Uh-huh.
physical attributes. It's like you don't see many bodybuilders bodybuilding into their 40s at that level. But he has something where maybe he's not training to this with like the same load that some of these younger, stronger guys. Like he doesn't train like a James Hollingshead,
Mm.
but he's calm. And that's how
Yep.
he wins. He wins with his brain. He wins with his head. And so that's where it's like the mental performance side comes in. It's like as you get older in this game, you develop the skills and the tools so that way you don't have to rely on that all the
Yes.
time. Because like
Yes.
you can
Yes.
white knuckle your way through specific periods of time, but you can't do it forever. If you try to do it forever, you're gonna lose your grip.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. That was beautiful. Clip that shit.
I'm gonna clip this whole goddamn podcast.
Clip that shit.
But man, I know we went a little bit over. We're at like an hour and 13 minutes now.
All right.
Do you have any lasting words? Anything you want to say to the people?
No, man. Thanks for having me. I told you that if you stop doing this, you're an idiot because this is amazing, right? And the way you can articulate your thoughts and even take the listener's thoughts and articulate them in a way where they look at you and be like, yeah, that's exactly what I've been thinking. That's a skill that most people die to have that you've earned. So I want to give you your flowers and say, man, you're fucking killing it. And I'm super proud of you. And I cannot wait to see who Gabriel is in the next 6 months, the next year, the next 2 years, as you continue this journey. And I'll be right beside you, homie.
Man, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to it too. I know I have had some internal resistance to wanting to start a podcast because I was like, well, who am I? Who wants to listen to me? And so now as I start to get into it more and I've become more comfortable in my craft and develop that confidence that I know who the fuck I am and I know what I bring and the value that hopefully I can bring to the world. And whether people see it or not is, I mean, that's not any of my concern.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like just kind of seeing the feedback just from that one episode with Joe already, and I'm sure like this is going to get a lot of really good feedback as well because you're obviously well spoken. I think the topics we talked about, people are going to be like, damn, I didn't really think about that. Um, but I would be remiss if I didn't continue chasing this now after seeing what it feels like to have these types of conversations with people that I look up to.
Yeah,
So thank you for coming on and thank you for spending, an hour and 15 minutes with me.
bro. Anytime, G.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Winning the Margins. Gabriel Rocha and Kirhee Cooper. If you guys need to find
You're
Kirhee, go look him up on Instagram. Go look up his YouTube channel. Got a lot of really good stuff on there. But with that, we are out.
later.